Welcome to another match preview here on Stones TV and the Maidstone United podcast, where we look ahead to our latest return league home game. The visitors are relegation-threatened Bath City. So before we look ahead to the Romans' visit to the Gallagher Coliseum, we must reflect on the hard-fought goalless draw on the road at the Tudors, sounding a bit like a history teacher now there. A good point to stop the short losing streak then, Nigel.
That's probably the best you can say about the game, really. It was a dogged performance, wasn't it? And you know, we bigged the game up in our preview show, didn't we? There's always loads of goals, and then we do deliver a 0-0. But it's a point again on the road, and that's where these small steps come back into it, isn't it? You know, we was missing German, wasn't we? Because he couldn't play against his parent club. But yeah, there was some good performances there. It was good to see Sam Corn coming back into the fold. Had a chance at the end there to win it, but just. You know, and George has said in the press this week, hasn't he, that he wanted to stay on, so he did the full 90 minutes, which is a good sign. Just you know, and it's the old adage, isn't it? If you can't get 3 points, then just make sure you come back and play with one. So again, it's like we've said in a lot of these sort of reviews. In isolation, it's a good point on the road against a team that's in form. You know, and they've since gone on and. Got a 2-1 win against St Albans since that result. So, yeah, they're definitely a team in form, and have definitely got that new manager bounce that's talked about. So, yeah, say in isolation, it's a good point. But maybe looking over the course of the title race, we've just fallen a little bit behind. But yeah, it's just keeping that faith and looking to get back on the horse again as soon as possible, isn't it?
It is, and I mean, talking of those games, there was a number of results on Saturday to pick out. Western closed the gap on the Stones. They had a come-from-behind win at Aveley. Boreham Wood beat Eastbourne with 3 second-half goals in 5 minutes. That was in spite of Gary Alexander failing to score a penalty at 0-0. Worthing took a bit of a beating at Slough. That was 4-0. Truro won 1-0 down the road at Tunbridge. Torquay squeaked past Hornchurch by 2-1. And those old devils, the Wanderers, Dorking, won 1-0 at Welling. At time of recording, they've got a 6-point gap at the top of the table, although 2nd to 8th have collectively got 12 games total in hand over Dorking, so goodness knows what effect those will all have eventually, Nigel. Hashtag never dull in National League South, as we keep saying.
Absolutely not. I mean, that Worthing result at Slough kind of puts our result into perspective, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? Everyone was going there and saying there was a team out of form, but you know, they've literally beaten Worthing at home 4-0 last week. They beat Dorking at home earlier in the season by a few, and then to only lose that game by 1-0, it's the graveyard of the promotion chasers, isn't it? So
it is.
It's not just us that struggle going there. They're set up in a way that that can be destructive to these bigger teams. So like we say, it's all to play for, isn't it?
So as you can see, you probably can't hear it though, or you might do. Nigel is sporting the 1979-80 Stones shirt from the start of the Alliance days, and of course Bath City were founder members alongside us, weren't they, Nigel, back in the day?
Yeah, it's one of those historical fixtures, isn't it, that we've been playing them in the ages, and it's good to sort of look back on these different eras and different times, and although some people might say it's a different club since our reformation in 1992, but if you were a Stones fan back in then, you're still supporting a team that play in amber and black, and you're playing against Bath, and the same sort of generational sort of fixtures that's been there from time. So it's always good to look back at these as well as looking forward and look into the future.
And of course, if you want to read about the Alliance days, of course you've got Fred's book, Pyramid Schemes, available online, Amazon, Club Shop, you know the drill. So the comings and goings for Bath since that 3-3 in November. Jerry Gill, the most notable departure less than 24 hours before the Stones played at Twerton Park. A week after that game, forward Ben Seymour and defender Ollie Tomlinson were loaned in from Torquay, while Sol Wanjo-Smith was loaned to us here, the Stones. He will likely be unavailable to play in this fixture on Saturday as part of that loan agreement, very much like Ricardo German's last weekend. Nick Grimes at the end of November, he moved closer to home and work with Taunton Town. Darren Way was then announced as the new Romans manager just before Christmas. His first move was to loan in Bradley Ash from Torquay for the season. Ollie Tomlinson's loan was also extended through to the end of the season, while Ben Seymour's loan from Torquay ended. The new year started with young goalkeeper Mamadou Diallo joining on a short-term work experience loan deal from Cheltenham Town. It was so short-term that he was recalled within the same week. So Bath subsequently welcomed young goalkeeper Jack Flower on a short-term work experience loan deal from Plymouth Argyle. Midfielder Mitch Beardmore joined on a 1-month loan from Exeter City. Latrell Humphrey-Ewers went out on loan to Taunton Town for 6 weeks before the end of January. Ollie Tomlinson was then permanently signed from Torquay on a contract through to the end of next season. And the most recent addition has been Jesse Nwabweze, a 21-year-old forward who had been training with Bath recently since leaving Ipswich Town. So Nigel, other than their lightning lane access to Torquay's reserve players, they've had a few more names sign on since Darren showed them the way.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we mentioned it before in previous previews, haven't we, that Ben Seymour, he was a bit of a thorn in the side last year when he played Hampton and Richmond, didn't he? He's gone back down sort of to the southwest region where he's sort of from, and hopefully for Bath he's settled in there. But they've got some good players. I mean, Tomlinson, he's been about a bit, hasn't he? And so has Bradley Ash. I think he was at Weymouth at this level before, and when they got up into the National League itself during lockdown there. So yeah, I say they've got players that know the level, haven't they? But they just seem to be a side that just can't break away. No. I mean, Welling have dropped into that bottom four now, haven't they?
Yeah.
And they're the next ones really on that sort of rank. So yes. St Albans are sort of improving, and Enfield are the ones that have come out of it. And as we saw from Averley, last week when they played us, they've got a bit about them. So. Yeah. I don't think that relegation sort of dogfight is quite as clear cut as it was a few weeks ago, because the teams below that dotted line have sort of picked up a little bit of form. So Bath have definitely got they've had a little bit of a new manager bounce, but they're still going to want to sort of pick up some points to sort of stop the squeaky bum times scenarios, aren't they?
Exactly. And I mean, talking of that relegation fight that Bath now find themselves in, I mean, form-wise, since we met back at Twerton Park, they were knocked out of the FA Trophy 3 days prior to our visit, and they've played another 15 league games since then. Only 6 defeats, 3 apiece home and away. All 3 away defeats have been by the same 1-0 scoreline at Eastbourne, Dorking and Welling, which, as we say, is probably quite crucial at this stage. 6 wins, 2 of those on the road, a 3-0 win at Chippenham on Boxing Day, and another 3-0 win at Weymouth last time out on the road. So therefore 3 draws, all consecutively earned at Enfield, which again we'll say is probably a good point down there, at home to Chesham, and then at Truro at the start of February. So last time we played them, Nigel, they just lost 5 in a row and changed their manager, so their form has improved slightly, but they're still very much in danger, as you alluded to.
Yeah, that's right. And looking at those results there, it's sort of a mixed bag, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? No more so than that game we played down on that Tuesday night, that 3-3, Yeah. It was a crazy game, wasn't it, really? It started out looking like it was going to be a routine sort of game for Maidstone, and then they sort of came back in, it got themselves ahead, didn't they? And then it was that last minute, I was just going to say that last minute goal that was debated whether it was an own goal, Aaron Blair's or Sam Corn's. I don't think it's really been cleaned up yet, but it was still an important point, wasn't it, on the road at that point, and after that game was when we sort of went on our runs of wins, wasn't it? So the importance of that sort of performance has suddenly become clear, and I think it's going to be the same now. Do you know what I mean? So we've literally come off the back of those 2 defeats earlier in the month, haven't we? And we've got that point against Hamel, and it's now time to kick on and put back-to-back performances together, because that's like we said before, isn't it? That's where our form was sort of patchy at the beginning of the season, where we couldn't get back-to-back wins on the board. So hopefully we can. This is the start of a new run of positive results.
So the key men at Twerton Park so far this season: goalkeeper Harvey Wiles-Richards has 11 clean sheets in the league this season. He's in the race for the Golden Gloves, currently led by our own Alexis Andre Jr. with 16 from 33. Kieran Parcell was the most appearances in Wiles-Richards' defence. He also has 3 goals to his name this season, most recently the opener in their 3-0 win at Weymouth. Jordan Tilson has been near ever present in their midfield, but he will be suspended for Saturday, as will Jordan Alves, who has 7 goals to his name up front. His most recent strike was an equaliser at home to Chesham last month. And Scott Wilson has 9 goals. He scored the other 2 in the 3-0 win at Weymouth last time out on the road for the Romans. So Nigel, about half their starting 11 that played against the Stones last time, and they've largely stuck to their spine underway, but a couple are missing on Saturday, which could be crucial.
Yeah, it could be crucial, but like we said, with those additions and you've got Scott Wilson in there as well. He's a proper poacher, isn't he?
Yeah, he showed that in Twyford Park against us, didn't he?
He did indeed, and I think he scored as well. He used to play for Macclesfield, I know that, but I don't know if he actually did score from that season that they went up. We actually did perform quite well against them, but he certainly bagged the goals that helped him win that title and promotion to the Football League, and didn't quite work out for him when they got promoted, but then it didn't for a lot of that team, did it? No. But he's back at this level now, and he's been quite prolific down the years in this level. He's obviously happy playing down in the southwest, and
so if you can't remember all of the players from the previous meeting, then why not head back to our previous preview video and podcast from this season for more information on Saturday's opponents. The links to the video and podcast are both in the description below. And if you can't make it to the game on Saturday, be sure to tune in to Fred and Nigel over here from 2:40 on Stones Live. You'll see them on the hot take and then hear them on the highlights once they go online. Well, the last time these two met was, of course, at Twyford Park, and they delivered a classic. I said there should be goals at Hemel last weekend, as it's the highest scoring ground in England this season, and then it was the first 0-0 of the season at Vauxhall Road. So I'm keeping stum on that front, just in case. Regardless, all roads lead to the Gallagher Stadium on Saturday for the Romans. Thanks to you all out there, as always, for watching or listening to the latest preview. Like and subscribe on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. Just search for the Maidstone United podcast. See or hear you for our next preview ahead of the away league game against Eastbourne, still unbeaten at time of recording at home. And as always,
come on, you Stones!